What's up, everyone? It's your girl Anita flying high, and you're tuned in to another one. So, as you didn't know, if you didn't know, Wave Miss Maria Sanchez is in talks of her Trigas Femenil return. Now, this was on June 10th. They let us know. San Diego Wave winger and Mexico international Maria Sanchez is currently in a very advanced negotiation with Liga MX Femenil Trigas. Sources have told ESPN. This mark will move a return to Tigres from the American-born Mexican that previously represented the club in 2021. Currently, her contract with the Wave, the winger, currently on contract with the Wave, the winger signed the NWSL side with the NWSL side in 2024, with a deal through 2026 and an option for 2027. Initially arriving as a marquee player for the Wave in 2024, the 29-year-old has since become a rotational option with just 2 starts in her last 7 appearances for the NWSL club. It says Sanchez Rubber would signify a continued rebuild for Tigres through the NWSL after the addition of the Mexican international forward Diana Ordonez from Houston in late May. And peep the wording. So as a marquee player, aka a face player, and then when they say signify a continued rebuild or a reclamation, nigga, the spirits are talking. Like I said, just like Diana, is another confirmation that Mexico dual citizen Mexico archetypes are being called back. It's over. It's up. Maria Sanchez's story is so obvious in front of your face. Let's peep game. Houston Dash, of course, made history by giving Maria the bag. The deal was worth 1.5 million over the 4 years, right? That was December 18, 2023, nigga. Houston Dash has re-signed restricted free agent Maria Sanchez to what multiple sources tell the Equalizer that it's the largest contract in the NWSL history. A 3-year deal with a mutual option for 4 years is worth. It says a 3-year deal with a mutual option for 4 years is worth close to 1.5 million total, including guaranteed money, bonuses, and assuming the option is executed as expected. Previously, Rodman was the league's highest paid player with a 4-year deal, 1.1 million contract worth 281,000, 100,000 per year guaranteed. That deal was signed early in 2022. So once again, a dual citizen, right? Maria Sanchez was offered 1.5 million in 2023. What are we in? We're in 2025. She signed a 3-year deal, nigga. So she signed the deal. And then we get the shocker. Houston Dash record signing Maria Sanchez request trade. Oh, okay. So she's dipping? Houston Dash winger Maria Sanchez had requested a trade for only 4 months after signing one of the most lucrative deals in the NWSL. Was it lucrative? In the NWSL soccer league history, multiple sources have confirmed to ESPN. It says both the NWSL trade window and transfer window will close at midnight on Friday. Sanchez signed a new contract with Houston in December for 3 years plus a 4th option, with a total compensation 1.5 million, including bonuses and the option that year. At the time, it was as of course, once again, it was the largest deal in NWSL history. Like I said, ESPN reached by ESPN on Sunday. A Dash spokesperson provided the following statement: Maria Sanchez is under contract, a choice she made in free agency at the end of 2023. Sanchez, 28, was a restricted free agent this past offseason, meaning that Houston had the ability to match any offer from any other NWSL team and retain her rights. Her contract is signed with the league. So it remains in place if she moves to a new team, and there are limited numbers of sides that would be able to be in position to sign her. She is a Mexico international known for her left foot service and strong technical abilities on the ball. So she became one of the top players in Mexico during her time in Liga MX Femenil, including with Tigres in 2021. Sanchez first signed with the Houston in 2022 after a brief loan spell with the team in 2021. She has been a focal point for the team as a winger who has been utilized as both wingback and higher up the field. It says Houston has struggled to create stability within the club since it's founded as of 2014, which is crazy, nigga. Like, which is crazy. It just shows how unstable NWSL is. Houston has struggled to create stability with their club since it was founded in 2014 NWSL expansion team, but the turnover has been particularly profound of late. There have been 5 different coaches in charge of the Dash since the start of 2022 season, including 2 who were interns. One they should have given the job since she was a woman. That wasn't gonna happen. One of those interns served as one of those intern coaches served in the role on 2 separate occasions. They're talking about Sarah, and like I said, they didn't want to give her the job because she was a woman. Last year, the Dash fired head coach Sammy Boy, which was scandalous. Even though Sammy was an assistant, he was better than all these other ninjas because at least he was loyal. Unlike these other fraudulent people. Last year, the Dash fired head coach Leite with 4 games remaining in his first season in charge, and the team still contended for a playoff berth. Last month, the Dash fired former goalkeeper coach Matt for violating the NWSL anti-fraternization policy and the NWSL coach code of conduct. Are we surprised, nigga? New head coach Fran Alonso was hired at the end of December after 3 years in charge of Celtic women's side in Scotland. Also, Alonso's inventory news conference, Dash general manager Alex Singer spoke about creating stability within the club after years of highs and lows and investing resources to establish long-term success. As we all know, that nigga, Fran Alonso, he flaked. Alex Singer is gone as well. And she was talking shit on her way out. We talked about Maria Sanchez. She had a lot of success, Singer said in December. How can we make her the absolute undeniable best winger in the league? She's a great footballer, but what are we providing off the pitch in the gym? A dietitian, high performance director, all of those things to enforce what we already have in place foundationally, but take it to the next level. And how did we get here? Sources: Wave Maria Sanchez talks for Tigres return. So June 10th. San Diego winger and Mexico international Maria Sanchez is currently in very advanced negotiations with Liga MX Femenil Tigres. Sources have told ESPN the move would mark a return to Tigres from the American-born Mexican that previously represented the club in 2021. So when I hopped on when I saw this on my timeline, I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Everyone's having to leave. I said, "Hey, yo, good day." Guess what? Maria Sanchez, the Mexican international, plays for San Diego Wave. Once again, the spirits of the souls of the players are telling them to come back to Mexico. And like we talked about how Mexico bringing in Diana to the club from Houston from NWSL, it was a sign that Mexico was like, yo, we got to bring back our talent that's being siphoned, that's not being able to play the beautiful game that they love in the way that they're appreciated. Right? So we're just going to go down here, nigga. Because we did a deep decode when it came to Maria Sanchez and, of course, Liga MX Virtualized, right? Like I said, let's go back down here to Maria because I really wanted to tell you Maria's story is in front of your face. Is in front of your face. Let me keep going. Let's say, hey, let's go back to Maria. She left Houston Dash even though Maria Sanchez's contract with Houston Dash was a 3-year deal with a 4-year option. totaling 1.5 million in compensation, including bonuses of that year. The deal was the largest in NWSL history at the time she was signed. She was acquired by San Diego Wave in a trade to Mexico. Like I said, Anita right there. Maria Sanchez's story is a spiritual parable of what's happening across the whole landscape. Maria Sanchez's timeline, a spiritual case study. She signed the biggest deal in the NWSL history, 1.5 million over 3 years. Fourth year option. They dangled northward wealth, status, and face card contracts to keep her in a colonial football system. And still, within a year, she's signaling a desire to go home. Why? Because money can't outrun ancestral pull. Why Maria's spirit is calling her back? Ancestral restlessness. Maria isn't just a footballer. She's a vessel for ancestral memory, a land where her people were buried, where her bloodline has walked for generations. It is calling her essence home. The NWSL contract might have fed the material, but it starved the soul, and no amount of six-figure bonuses can patch that void. Spiritual misalignment in the north. At Dash and the San Diego Wave, the football environment is hyper-capitalistic, disconnected, and culturally sterile. The ancestral energy around her in those locker rooms doesn't match the vibration of her spirit. That's why so many Latin, Afro-Latina, and Indigenous players struggle in the NWSL system. They feel unmoved, like spiritual axis. Let's keep going down. Maria's move is an ancestral reclamation in real time. This isn't just about football, it's a spiritual migration. And Maria is one of the early vessels moving with it. She would be one of the names football historians look back on as a turning point in the collapse of the colonial football pipeline and the resurrection of the southern football sanctuaries. And of course, we all know Diana Ordonez coming to Tigres. Another vessel returns to Mexico, her ancestral nexus. Diana was born in America but carries Mexican bloodline. She came up through the NWSL system and for a time looked poised to be another U.S.-based Mexican international face card in the league. But like Maria Sanchez, she felt the spiritual friction. The North offers exposure but not belonging. It offers checks but not rootedness. And Diana's move to Tigres isn't just about football. Isn't just a football decision. It's a soul alignment move. Like I said, this is the football migration you prophesize. Maria, Diana, and more are coming. Watch for Mexican internationals based in the U.S., similar to like Scarlett, to trickle back to Liga MX Femenil over the next 2 seasons. Dual citizens feeling called to play in Mexico even if the checks are smaller. Young Latin talent opting out of U.S. college/NWSL pipelines early to go pro in Mexico early. Because what's happening in Mexico isn't just a league, it's a football sanctum, a reclaiming ground. Says Tigres Femenil. As the new spiritual capital, Tigres, along with Club America, Chivas, Rayadas, and we could say Tuzas, are becoming the power centers of feminine football spirit in the Western Hemisphere. Where Barca Femenil and Leon used to sit, now these Mexican clubs are rising. Hold on, y'all. All right. The ancestry, listen, where Barcelona Femenil and Leon used to sit, now these Mexican clubs are rising and the land is being blessed for them. The ancestors are organizing the rosters, the fans, and even championship timelines. Mark this, Tigres is about to become the spiritual Barcelona in the West. Okay? Look, let's keep going here. Mexico, a spiritual sanctuary of the women's football. A place where football is more than just a game. Here, football is woven into into the very fabric of the land and of the people. It's an ancestral ceremony, a cultural identity, and a spiritual ritual all rolled into one. Players don't just play; they offer on the pitch. They channel their lineage, their history, and their purpose every time they lace up. 2. A refuge from the hollow north in Europe. After years of feeling disconnected, commodified, and spiritually starved in the NWSL or European leagues, many players are now coming home, Jill, physically and spiritually. Mexico provides a rooted football culture with deep fan connection, a vibrant community where their heritage is honored and uplifted, an environment where playing means healing and expression, not just performances. It says the new epicenter of football spirituality in the Western Hemisphere. Mexico's rise isn't accidental, it's ancestral orchestration, collective recombination, and a spiritual reawakening converging on the beautiful game. Players, fans, and clubs are all part of the larger frequency shift, one that will shape the future of women's football for decades, type shit. You know what I'm saying? All right. Right here. The bigger picture, individual spiritual currency is collapsing. Maria Sanchez leaving behind a record deal is proof of what we said. You can build $1 million contracts on stolen spiritual land, but you cannot keep the players once their souls wake up. And that's what's happening. Watch over the 2 to 3 years, more players will break contracts early, players will refuse extension offers, homesickness narratives will mask the real truth, spiritual starvation. And in essence, that's pretty much what we're seeing with Maria Sanchez. She has been starved in the NWSL because look, not only did she have to, she went to Houston, and they gave her the money because they wanted her to stay to be able to build with Houston. She's it's unstable, so she dipped. And guess who she showed up to? The toxic ass Jill Ellis San Diego Waves of the world. Do you think she wanted to stay there? I already told Germa to get out. Germa left. We already told a lot of other players to get out. Jaden Shaw left. Alice Morgan retired. And all of a sudden, now Maria, they brought in the French like Delphine and some other archetypes. But still, Maria's not even getting playing time. 2 out of the 7 matches is wicked work. To Jonas is wicked work. Who is this ninja? But anyways, yes, Maria Sanchez talks to return to figure out. As you know, this is just another confirmation. You can dangle millies in front of these players, but what is that if they're not being able to play the beautiful game soulfully, and their archetypes are being suppressed on the pitch? Huh? Like I said, it's in front of your face, and this. Like I said, Maria's gonna be able to go back to Mexico and tell everyone how I'm like one of the first players, dual citizens, that was offered a big contract, the biggest contract in the world, and I still had to leave home. I couldn't even finish. And she's not from, and I still had to return to Mexico because this is where they honored my football. You know what I mean? 1.5 million. And like I said, they're not talking about this in the media. They're not putting this narrative out there that Maria Sanchez has been starved spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the one that's got to say it. It is what it is. And I want to say thank you, Maria, for being a real one in this bitch. All right, y'all. It's your girl Anita flying high. Oh, also, make sure, let me see something. Oh, here it is. Yeah, make sure y'all go watch the decode. It's a deep one. Y'all can say Maria Sanchez returned to Tigres. And then where did the NWSL and WSL go wrong? They sold their image for essence, bro. And this is why their league is on the collapse. This is why Maria Sanchez archetypes, $1.5 million players are leaving the league. It is what it is. It's over. It's up for the NWSL and WSL. It doesn't mean anything. The big numbers don't mean nothing if we're not seeing authentic football. It is what it is. Like I said, like I continue to tell y'all, all is being revealed, and don't worry, I'll be the one to talk about it. All right, y'all. It's your girl Nita flying high of this third dimensional reality, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Deuces.